Canada, I don't know, what do you say? Good beer, big mountains, big trees, and pretty women. I don't know, what do you say?
What would you say if I asked you about Canada? Do you really know what's up there? It's the second largest country in the world, but we rarely hear anything about it. A giant country, directly above the United States, and yet U.S. residents barely realize it's there. Growing up in the States, that goes for me too. I knew nothing about Canada, except that I'm different. Technically, I'm a Canadian. However, the less I heard about my home country, the more curious I was to find out about where I came from. It had to have its own history, culture, and story to it, just like any country. I decided to find out, so I gathered up 3 of my friends and we hit the road. It's time to discover the rest of the North American neighborhood. This is an off-the-grid picture, and this is our journey. So my idea was to travel from the east coast to the west coast of Canada. It took a while, but eventually I was able to convince 3 of my buddies to drop everything and join me. Dan joined up first. He was a bar manager and is probably the slowest person any of us have ever met. Next was Jake. Jake was a fleet manager for a trucking company. Everything he does is cool. Then came Tim, an environmental consultant. Tim likes to hang out with really, really weird people. Finally, there was myself. I'm a news editor. I pretend I know everything, and I'm always trying to tell everyone what to do. So the 4 of us all quit our jobs, and on May 25th, we hit the road for Canada. We were going to spend the whole summer traveling the country. We didn't know it at the time, but it was going to be the greatest summer of our lives. For the next 3 months, we were on the road. Half the time, we slept in our tent, which we called the Chateau.
Coolest tent ever!
The rest of the time, we were with hosts that were kind enough to let us crash wherever they had room. We hit virtually every major city from the east coast to the west. St. John's, Newfoundland, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Quebec City, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, Victoria, and a lot more. Of course, we also spent plenty of time exploring the road less traveled. Sometimes we'd stay for a day or 2, and sometimes we'd stay longer, especially when the van broke down. We shot the beautiful scenery,
This is amazing.
the nightlife, the wildlife, and what life was like for us on the road. And we checked out all sorts of events, like the Calgary Stampede, the Folk on the Rocks Fest in Yellowknife, the Duotone Art and Film Fest in Kelowna,
This is something completely different.
and a lumberjack competition in Squamish, British Columbia.
Holy smokes!
We tried to go to places and events that were unique, the sort of things that had distinct Canadian flavor to them. That's flavor spelled F-L-A-V-O-U-R, just in case you were wondering. When you travel for as long as we did, you get to know a lot of people. Every new place and at every new town we stopped, we found someone new to talk to. We asked Canadians what they had to say about Canada.
They think that's great.
Sometimes we'd meet people in the streets, and sometimes we'd come across people a little further off the beaten path. Everyone was excited to talk to us, and almost everyone had something interesting to say.
What do you have to say, Ralph? I got nothing to say right now, buddy.
Wherever we went, we found people with different perspectives on their country, their region, and their life as a Canadian.
I am extremely proud to be a Canadian citizen.
The four of us spent plenty of time in front of the camera, too. Every day we set some time aside to talk about where we were, what we were doing, and our insights on the trip. 80 days, 17,000 miles, and countless hours of footage later, we made it to the West Coast. Now, when anybody asks me about my home country, I have lots to tell them. This summer, watch our journey in Project Canada as we give you a little peek into the country to the north. The people, the places, and the adventure.